Hello and welcome once again to Candid Conversations with Liz. I am Liz and I'm so happy to have you on the show today. Um this is the last show for 2023. I'm so excited. I'm grateful to God for bringing us thus far. We started this in March 2023 and today we're having our last episode for the year. Trust me, 2024 is going to be coming with a banger. Thank you so much for joining us today. I can see there are people online already. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll just dive straight into it. So, today I have an amazing lady with me, my auntie. So she's been through different phases. She's been through the whole from dating to marriage, or from dating to courtship to marriage to separation to divorce. She's seen it all. Are you guys ready? Are you ready? Okay. So let me just bring her up right now. I would want you to introduce yourself, ma'am. You're welcome.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nkem Waninobi. I am a lawyer turned human resources professional. Like Liz said, my life experiences have equipped me to be able to speak about the topic today, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I
Thank
hope
you, ma.
I hope today is going to give you the discussion you're looking forward to.
I know it will, ma. I know it will.
Okay.
It's so good to have you on the show, ma.
Thank you so very much.
And she speaks very good English.
Ah.
Okay, so today we are talking about separation and divorce, and that's something that is prevalent in our society, not just in Nigeria but worldwide. Yeah. So I checked out current divorce rates in Nigeria, and what I saw is actually alarming. I saw that out of every 1,000 married couple, five are divorced.
That's not too bad.
Yes, but it's bad.
It is bad, but given all that is going on in our society at the moment, well, it
It
could be
looks
much
like
worse. Yes,
it's worse than that, right?
it could be much worse. Maybe there are a lot of divorces that are masquerading as separations that have not been recorded. I can assure you of
Oh,
that.
okay, that's okay. Okay, Samuel Tekimbe, I see you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you very much. Um, I would like to ask you, when did you get married?
I got married in 2001,
2001. That's how many
some
years
time back,
now?
22 years.
Whoa,
Yes.
22 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
How many kids?
I have two kids,
Okay.
one from the marriage and one not from the marriage.
Oh, great,
Uh-huh.
great. Yeah. And I know the little one.
Yes, you know the little one.
Yes, okay. Such a beautiful girl and very intelligent too.
Yes,
Yeah.
the joy of
Okay.
her mother's heart.
Mm-hmm. You can say that
Mm-hmm.
again. You can say that again. Okay, so what's the feeling like to be divorced?
um, Honestly, the first thing I'd like to say is that most sane people do not go into marriage planning to get divorced.
Mm.
And in a society where there's such a lot of emphasis placed on marriage, um, being divorced feels like a failure.
True.
We're meant to we're meant to think it is a
Yeah.
failure. We're meant to feel like we have failed. In fact,
Hmm.
a lot of preachers and a lot of people would tell you that if you failed in marriage, you failed in most things in life. But the truth of the fact is that I consider divorce a last case option, a worst case scenario option, like when there's nothing else to do,
Mm.
that's where you go.
Okay.
So, by the time you get to that point, you have to decide how you are going to see your divorce. At that time, you have to decide how you're going to view your divorce. You have a choice then at that point to decide whether it's going to be viewed as a failure, as a success, or as the foundation of your survival.
Mm.
And for me, at that point, my divorce was the start of my survival.
Oh wow.
Yes,
Oh wow. That's
yes.
profound. So did you like go through separation first, or it was a straight case of divorce?
Actually, my own marriage was 7 hills and 7 valleys.
Oh.
We got married and geographical separation first, and then got back together. And in the course of our, I got separated. I left the marriage on the 10th of January 2016.
Hmm.
And so between 2001 and 10th of January 2016, we had had different, some small separations. But in 2011, 2 days after my 10th wedding anniversary, I came home from work and found out that I was locked outside. And I was locked outside for 2.5 years.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what was the main reason for the whole drama?
Um, a couple of years ago, I met a friend, a class where I was sitting with some classmates, and one of them said something. She said, "Many are mad,
Yeah, really.
but few are roaming," and that was the
I've
first
heard
time I
I've
heard
heard
it.
that too.
And the truth of the fact is that that statement stayed with me for a very long time,
Wow.
because no aspersions cast on anybody's personality or character. A lot of things that happened because of my marriage would not appear like they came from a place of sanity. I don't know. I'm not an angel, and I will definitely make that disclaimer. I certainly am not an angel, but there are so many things that happen that I don't even know how to explain them, because when I explain them, they sound unbelievable.
Mm.
There wasn't any infidelity in the marriage. I wasn't cheating, to the best of my knowledge. At that point, I didn't think he was cheating. We weren't at that point having anything that seemed like physical abuse or any, so I don't know what happened, but I with time I've come to realize that I was dealing with somebody who had narcissistic personality disorder.
Oh.
I didn't know it then. And so for the longest time, I kept thinking there was something, wrong with me. And being a Christian, when you're a Christian woman, you keep hearing a good woman holds her home together, builds her house, holds her home together, and all of that. You go for prayer meetings. All your prayer meetings are centered around your children and your husband. So for the longest time, it really did take me a long time not to come it took me a long time to come to terms with the fact that the problem may not just have been only me. I thought for the longest time I was the one who was doing something wrong. Not that I had problems, but I was doing something wrong. And I almost killed myself trying to do something, what I could do to make it right. And there was nothing I could ever do that was good enough.
Oh.
So, I just came back from work for no reason, and I was locked out of my house. I slept in the car overnight, and the next morning, the gentleman says to me, "Go home, the marriage is over."
Wow. Just like
Yes,
that.
just like that. And this happened in April 2011. And he filed for a divorce, stated a couple of things in his statement of claims and all of that. And sent people home to my father's compound in the village and told them to return the wine.
Wow.
Then after a few months, woke up from his sleep and decided he didn't want to return wine again. I went back and begged my father. My father was alive then, and told my father, begged and begged and begged. And you know how our society helps to, I don't know what to call it, helps to empower those who, like to empower this kind of madness. My father was like, I don't want my daughter to be said to have a broken home. So my father said, okay, please forgive him. He wants to do the right thing. So we had to actually start the marriage process more or less from the start. He had to return wine, try and make appease my people, all of that. We actually had a renewal of vows in 2013. So for 2.5 years, from April 2011 to November 2013, I was out of my marriage.
Wow.
End of November 30th, 2013, we actually had a renewal of vows. And I went back to the marriage. I moved back to my home and all of that. So I don't want to talk about what happened after that. But so between December 1st, 2013 and January 10th, 2016, I do not, let's not go there. Let's not go there, because for the person who came and made all the apologies and stated all the things he did wrong and all of that, and man, what I saw in those last 2 years, oh my goodness. I made up my mind before I came here today that I wasn't going to go into the details because we have a child together, and I'd like to respect my son, not necessarily the gentleman in question, but I would like to respect my son because he doesn't deserve to, I can easily be identified, so I don't want him to have to go through the humiliation of having all
Yeah.
these details out there. But I had gotten to the point where I was losing my mind. Now I'm not talking about losing my mind. I said, no, I'm losing my mind. No. I had gotten to the point where I was losing my God-given mind. I was going insane. And my health, it was beginning to tell on my health. It was beginning to tell on so many other areas of my life. My mother woke up one day and said, you've become so hard. People who knew me before then were like, I was such a soft, weepy, cryy baby. But marriage made me hard, unfeeling. Because, I went through so much. And like I said, I really am going to struggle very hard not to go into the details so that, we
Yeah, I
don't
understand that. But
wash everything in public.
were there signs? Were there red flags, maybe during courtship or dating, that could have pointed you to this, but maybe you neglected and just went on?
Okay, so in retrospect, yes.
Okay.
In retrospect, yes. But you see the thing about it, what use is a sign to a blind person? For you to understand, for you to see a sign, you have to have the eyes to see. That's the first thing. And then signs can only be interpreted if you understand what they are.
Mm.
So this was me. I came from a very sheltered upbringing,
True.
came from a very sheltered background, came from a family, nuclear and extended, where people said things the way they were. People didn't lie. People didn't, like people will tell you this. My mom has a huge family. My father came from a smaller family. But both families, they weren't, my people were forthright and would tell the truth over things. We didn't understand prevarication and all these semantics and dancing around, very upright and forthright. So when people said yes, it was yes. And when they said no, it was no. Then you meet somebody who is very well versed in the art of saying yes when they meant no.
Mm.
And then I also met somebody who understood how to package.
Mm.
So I learned a lot of things because of my marriage. How do I put this and sound nice? Um, Unequal yoking doesn't stop at believer and unbeliever. That's the foundation. After that, backgrounds matter.
True.
Backgrounds matter. We didn't come from similar backgrounds, even though he had learned how to package it to look as if our backgrounds might have had some similarities. And I discovered that when I got into the marriage. There were some things that happened when we were dating, but I didn't understand what they would mean when I got into the marriage. If someone stops you from seeing, if someone is like, oh, my passport detail page, don't expose it like that. You're like, oh, maybe he wants to keep his information secret. But you don't tie it to the fact that he's lying about some details
Yeah.
there.
I get what you
Do
mean.
you understand? I came from a family where I know my parents, my father is dead now, but I knew his date of birth. I knew how old he was. I know how old my mom is. I know her date of birth. And then imagine ending up with somebody after living with him for 15 years. I still don't know his date of birth.
Oh wow.
Yes. So he knew how to make things look good. And the truth of the fact was that I was too blind to see what was beneath the surface. We were all singing the same songs in church. We were all lifting holy hands in worship. We were all speaking the same languages. We were all quoting the same scripture. We all were Christians and all were believers until I got in there and realized that there are believers and there are believers.
Wow. That's deep.
I'm really not trying to cast any aspersions, but that is the truth. So yes, I saw a couple of things. One of the things I remember I saw that I did not real something happened. We had a little bit of, I won't say an argument, but a disagreement. Let's put it like that. And he did not, he was in the wrong. And for 4 days, he didn't see any reason to apologize.
Okay. Oh, that was clearly a sign.
And when I now decided, you know what, I don't think I want to do this anymore. That was when he now, I'm so sorry, forgive me. And the truth of the fact was that was a sign. But when someone says I'm sorry, when a genuine person says I'm sorry, what I'm sorry means is, I'm sorry I did this and I'll try not to do it again. But I realized very quickly when I got into the marriage that for him, I'm sorry meant, hey, he took you, he pained you, okay, now I know that this is a button for you.
Oh.
So everything he did that hurt me, and he saw my reaction and saw that it hurt me, he would do it again and again and again. And me, I couldn't understand how a human being could do that to somebody you claimed to love. So I would fall the first time and fall the second time and fall the third time, and he used to take pleasure in seeing me hurt. And when I would cry, he would say, why are you crying crocodile tears?
Oh, that's even
So
more hurtful.
it was very traumatic for me. So over time, I became harder. And then I now realized that anytime he did something and I said this hurt, and he would do it again, that he did it because he wanted to see me hurt. So even if I hurt, I would find a way not to show the hurt, or I would find something to do. I don't want to go into examples. I don't want to go into examples. We wouldn't leave here today if I go into examples.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was just wondering because I can see there was like a roller coaster of emotions.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Psychological.
Oh yeah.
Mental.
Absolutely.
How were you able to cope?
I wasn't able to cope.
You were not.
I wasn't.
But did you have any support system?
Hmm. 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 I wasn't able to cope. I didn't thrive. I'm a people pleaser. I like people around me to be happy.
Mm.
I'm stupidly loving. I'm one of those people who is overly romantic. So, I just love to love. I love people. The
I
people
love
I
love
love, I
too.
love.
I love love.
The people I love know that I love them. It's not in question.
Yeah.
So I didn't thrive. I thrive in environments where I'm appreciated, where I'm loved, where I'm supported, where I'm validated. That's where I thrive. So I didn't thrive.
Mm.
I didn't thrive. I almost lost my mind, as in went gaga. I
Wow.
almost lost my mind. But my support, I don't, when I look at my life, I say to myself, I know that God sees the end from the beginning.
Sure.
And He knew what I was going to go through. So He gave me my sister.
Mm.
My sister is my angel.
Mm.
She's the permanent chairman of my Amen Corner.
Wow.
My sister, that's 1 hour gist. Let's leave it there. But my sister is one of the blessings that God gave me when He was sending me here to this earth. My sister was always in my corner.
Mm.
She would do anything it took to make sure that I survived whatever I was going through. My mother is a very strong woman.
Mm.
Feminist from very old, far back. Yes, grew in a sheltered environment, naive in her own ways, not badly naive, but my mom's also trusting and everything, and she believes the best in people. But you know what? My mom's a very strong person. And so, those people, for most of the time, they were my support. And he didn't like it.
Obviously.
He did not like them. He does not like them.
Mm.
He does not like them. Or at least at the last time that we spoke, he still did not like them. Then, when God blessed me with a job, my boss, Joanne, till day after tomorrow, she'll be my Oga. At the time I got that job, I had almost become feral, wild. I was hurt, scared, hurting, and paranoid. And she held my hand in so many ways and centered me. So professionally, she centered me, and she made me remember who I was, and she made me come back to terms with my capacity and my capabilities. And she helped me start the journey, start my life on the trajectory in which it is now. So those three women, strange enough.
Mm.
I've had some other people who at different times have been strength to me. I have my friends, Dan, I have Nkoli, I have I have people that have been there. But these three people have really, 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 really been there for me. My mom, my sister, Joanne, and Dan. And yeah, those four people have really been support for me in it all. It takes a while. The terrible thing about being in this kind of relationship or that kind of marriage is that it takes a while to heal.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a long while to heal. You think you leave, you've left. Yeah, you've left. You separated. Yeah, you gotten a divorce. Yes, you have the certificate in front of you. But every so often, something happens to remind you that you've not healed as well as you thought you had healed. So but it keeps getting better. It's a kind of situation where once you're taken away from that, that constant irritation, you gradually start to get better.
Mm.
It takes a while to heal completely, but yes, you will
Wow.
get better.
Wow. So, because I see that you have moved from where you used to be.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have left all of that. So, how did you regain your self identity, your self image, your self confidence? Because I'm sure it took away a lot from you. How were you able to come back?
Okay, like so, I told you that I think he hasn't gone to see a psychologist, but he's textbook narcissist. So we met at a United Nations conference.
Okay.
He was working for the UN then, doing some consultancy for them, and we met. I came to support my auntie's non-governmental organization. So I was strong. I was vibrant. I had just finished from law school, and I was feeling very, like knowledgeable, and So I think part of what drew, what part of what attracted him in me was the confidence.
Mm.
But like most narcissists, what they want to do is to destroy that confidence,
To break you.
break you, break you. If they would break you and remold you, that would be a totally different thing. But they break you to destroy you.
Wow.
So what made me when I got the job I got, where Joanne is my boss, I don't want to call the name of the organization. Working with her brought my professional self back to life. The things I used to do, the capacities, the abilities I knew I had within me that had been buried for a long time. Because for a very long time, because of his job and a few other things because of his job largely and a few other things that were happening in our lives, I wasn't able to work for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I had, I didn't have any other um, world in which I was being affirmed or validated. And the world in which I was firmly ensconced, the world of his home and that marriage, I was being torn down consistently. So when I added the professional world to my life, I now was validated more often.
Mm.
My confidence started coming
Oh,
up.
it started coming back. Okay.
Started coming up. My confidence started coming back up, and you know, I began to see that people would say, how did such a strong woman become so completely broken down? No matter how strong stone is, if there's a constant drip of water on it, consistently for a long period of time, it would get washed away. There will be a mark left on it.
Mm. True.
And when you're in a place where, yes, my mom and my sister were validating me and affirming me, but you say to yourself, oh, these are the people, these are my people. They don't have a choice but. So, and my sister is particularly biased towards me. So, whatever she said, I would hear behind in the back of my mind, oh, it's your sister. She will always see good in you.
True.
So I wasn't sure whether to take everything she said as gospel, or well, I'm not saying as gospel, as being the truth. I took it with some salt, some pinch of salt, because I felt my sister loves me and she'll always say the things that will make me feel better. So yes, even though she was telling me the things that I needed to hear and that were supposed to be building me up, I couldn't take everything wholesale because I felt it's my sister. She loves me. She won't be able to tell me the truth even when I'm not doing things the right way. So, but when I took myself to a place where I was able to hear that from other people, it helped give me the confidence to, it woke me up from sleep.
Mm.
It woke me up from sleep. It empowered me. Being promoted, climbing the corporate ladder and everything made me realize that, look, hey, you know what?
Oh wow.
It's not what you've been hearing all this while. Remember who you used to be, and all that came back to me.
Okay. So okay, so you've answered the confidence part,
Yeah.
but I would like to ask if you have any practical advice you can give to probably someone going through what you went through.
Divorce is a very personal thing. If you're a Christian, it's even more difficult for you because every day you keep hearing God hates divorce. A good woman builds her own house with her hands. A foolish one tears hers down with her hands. You keep hearing things that make it difficult for you to take the decisions you need to take. But it is imperative that you realize one thing, that God has not called us to insanity or fear or trauma or pain, excessive pain. He has called us to love, peace, a sound mind.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing you owe yourself is to tell yourself the truth.
I agree.
Tell yourself the truth. I learned very quickly, and no disrespect to any pastors, the pastors of my church, Pastor Sam and Pastor Jumoke, were very supportive of me when I needed to take the decisions I needed to take. They didn't come out and tell me, walk away, get divorced, or anything like that. But they made it clear to me that this wasn't the life that God had called me to. And having them speak those words to me made me realize that, look, there was more to this life than where I was. You need to realize that marriage is an amazing thing. Everyone wants an amazingly good marriage. Everyone wants a good marriage. Everyone wants a marriage that is heaven on earth. There's no marriage that is perfect, but some are more perfect than others.
True.
If you're in this kind of situation, you need to tell yourself the truth. Tell yourself the truth about your marriage. No matter who is encouraging you to stay there, they're going to go home to their own homes. You're left to deal with the mess. When everyone has preached the message of, oh, stay, my sister, don't let the devil take glory over this matter. My sister, you pray. And they're all going to go home to their homes. We've seen so many women who have died in the name of marriage. When I was younger, there was a book that came out, Battered into Submission. It was written in 1998. And that book was fundamentally about abuse in Christian marriages, even amongst pastors and all of that. I'm a little bit older than some people around. I'm not as young as, I'm not in my 20s or 30s or anything like that, but when we were younger, as Christians, divorce was completely out.
Yeah.
Separation wasn't even discussed. If your husband was beating you, sit down there and pray. The Lord will touch his heart and one day he will stop. And then after a while, pastors buried a couple of their parishioners and realized that, look, some men have the capacity to go beyond the slap once in a while. So pastors now came to the agreement that separation was acceptable. As when this doctrine of if he's beating you, leave the home, go somewhere, give him some time to cool off. That's when it came up. When some women had been buried. It's now clear that sometimes separation doesn't do it. You're separated for 10 years. Your life is going. Your life is not amount. You're stuck in limbo. You can't have children because you're married to somebody that is not the right person. It's just a mess. But I'm not here to preach divorce. What I'm here to do is tell you. Tell yourself the truth. Face your reality and go and meet God. I left my marriage after excessive talking with God. You have to know how God talks to you.
Yeah, very important.
You have to know how he talks to you. You have to know how he talks to you. Because of the amount of word and doctrine against divorce I had heard, even when he was talking to me the way he ordinarily would talk to me, I didn't hear. It took some extraordinary talking to hear. But the great thing about it was that the day he spoke to me about it. He didn't tell me to get divorced. What was my fear at that time was, how will I manage?
Okay.
I didn't have any money. I didn't have any savings. I didn't have any. The job I was doing, I was basically doing an entry level job. I thought about Abuja, the rent. Was I going to be able to cope? At least there, I was living under the roof there. No one was driving me. I won't go into the other details because if I do, people are going to be in shock. And when they see the guy, they might almost poke his eyes out. But I won't do that. I won't humiliate him because it will be a she said, he said thing. I don't want to do that. And like I said, I want to respect my son in this. So it was, I was scared. If I leave this place, will I ever have any level of comfort in my life? Would I ever be able to do the things that are important to me? Travel if I wanted to. Would I even be able to afford anything? Would I be able to afford to eat? Would I be able to afford to pay rent in a reasonable place? So that I kept going on and on. And at the time, I was willing to settle for all the abuse, the harassment, the psychological torture, the pain, the humiliation, the everything I was going through. And it was a lot. It was a lot. But one day, I heard God clearly as I hear you as you sit beside me. And he asked me, is it that you think I cannot take care of you?
Whoa. Okay.
He didn't say get divorced. He just said, is it that you think I can't take care of you? Because that was the major thing that was my fear. And immediately that question came. I knew where it was coming from. And immediately I answered that question. In honestly, between all of us here, I had no idea what the future was going to look like. Because I was in an entry-level job at that point in time. I had no idea what the future was going to look like. I did not know what it was going to be. I did not see where it was going to go. But immediately I answered that question, I knew my marriage was over. And people would say, how are you sure it was God you heard? There's so many other things that have happened since then that confirm it to me that it was him I heard. So many other things have happened since then. I cannot tell you how much better my life is now than what it was. Maybe I don't have, at that time it's not as if I had the money to throw around, but you know what? The peace, the joy, the ability to even see purpose, the ability to even be alive. Do you know, it was 6 months after I left my marital home in quote, that one day there was a kind of deep breath I took, and it dawned on me that I hadn't breathed that deeply for as long as I could remember.
Oh, wow.
I was running on adrenaline. I was always scared. I was always sure that I was going to be locked out again. I wasn't sure, there was nothing was certain in my life. I was sure any day I got home, after that day I stepped outside and the door was open to me, I was like, oh, they opened the door to me today. So I was always sure the door was never going to be opened again. I cannot tell you on the level, that's the things I was afraid of. My doctor even told me that I had developed stress-induced ulcer. I was picking up stress-induced asthma. Yeah. I cannot tell you, it had started impacting my health. But I left and, oh man. Am I riding the range yet? No, not yet. It's coming. But you know what? I cannot compare the pleasure my life is now to what I was going through when I was there. So, long and short of it is, if you're going through this, please tell yourself the truth. What is it that is scaring you the most? Take it to God, especially if you're a Christian. If you're not a Christian, practicing Christian, most of us are in this country, you either believing one way or the other. It's either you're a Muslim but for the Muslim people, they have it a lot easier because, it's even easier to get married as a divorced Muslim girl. Yeah. For Christians, man, it's
which brings me to the next question.
But it's difficult. But you know what? God. If God says this is, he would make it good. He will
Yeah.
make it good.
He always does.
He will make it good.
He
He will make
always
it good.
does.
And it will be worth working away for.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Next
Okay.
question.
Yeah, let me just okay, so I see Apex Multimedia. Thank you so much. And he says or she says, this is very informative. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining. Yeah, Adewale Oluwatoyin says hello. Hello right back at you. Rita Father, what use? She says, what use assigns to a blind what now?
A blind person.
To a blind person, I guess. To a blind person. Elizabeth Ekin. Hi, ma'am. Is well. It is well.
Oh yeah, it is well.
It is
It is
well.
well.
Sinet Kolade, I see you.
It is
She
well.
says here have support systems. I totally agree. You shouldn't have to go through all of that alone.
But you know the thing about it? An abuser, like I said, no sane person plans to get divorced when you get married. So what likely happens is that you're a sane, loving, sweet, naive girl who one crazy person who has no understanding of what this whole marriage thing is, but has learned the language that we speak, camouflages and comes and takes you, and then you get in there and discover that you found yourself in an abusive environment. What the abuser primarily does is that he cuts you off everybody that makes you feel that you're worth anything. So when you say have
Just
support
to
systems,
cripple
it is very easy for your support system to be cut off.
Oh wow.
It's very easy. Especially in this life, it's very easy for your support system to be cut off. If somebody told the people I went to the university with that I would ever be in an abusive marriage, the person they would have said, lie, never in this world. Because in school I was one of those student union supporters. I was one of those, are we doing right? Or let's march to the gate. I was one of those people. But you know, I'm also a trained lawyer. And as a lawyer, one of the things you hear, especially as you're doing your final year and you're going through law school, is female lawyers don't get married. You keep
Oh.
hearing that as a mantra. In fact, when I went for court attachment in the court, one of my colleagues then said to me, listen, all the women who are going to introduce themselves here are going to introduce themselves as Miss. Yes.
So
So,
it's
you
a
know,
thing.
so even though I didn't think I wasn't going to get married, when you get into a marriage, they're like, you know, you're a lawyer, you have to take it easy, you have to pipe down, no, you have to calm down.
yeah.
No. So that already predisposes you to a lot of abuse. Because you already know that you are a little bit more tenacious than the rest about things. You're a little bit more opinionated than others. So even the things that are normal, where you should normally stand up as a normal, you keep finding yourself trying to suppress that thing in you because you're struggling hard not to be one of the statistics of you're a lawyer, your marriage will fail.
Yeah.
So you find you're taking more abuse, more harassment, more stress than other people would, or even somebody walking down the road who is selling akara will not take as much abuse as you, because you're struggling hard to not be a statistic. So cutting you off from your support system is very easy, very, very easy. If you're taking it, if the man manages to get you away from a job, your family lives far away, you're too busy cooking fresh food for him and doing his laundry and arranging the house such that you're not part of a church group, you cannot be part of a church group, you cannot be part of you don't have any group of friends, or you don't have a support system,
You're isolated.
you're isolated. That's what it does, straight up. Even if you have a sister in town, everybody is so busy. It takes if it takes people who are really invested in you to find out what you're going through and to be able to help you check the abuse in your life. Most times we are all so busy that we don't even really have the time to invest in others, and it's vice versa. So I'm not investing that much time in you. I'm like, oh Lizzie, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Oh, Lizzie's fine. All is well with Lizzie. You go home. Lizzie hasn't had the time to really unburden herself to you, because We all are too busy packaging. So, for all intents and purposes, the person you're looking at next that looks so good and well made up and everything could be going through whatever. You just don't know what people are going through. The person has been cut off from all the other people that are in a position to really notice what's going on in her life or his life. Because I have come to see too that some men are abused.
Yeah, so I was going to say that.
Yes, some men are abused. Christian women and Christian men are people who are very disadvantaged. And what I mean by that is, being believers are predisposes us to being trusting,
Yeah.
loving, caring, forgiving, and we just want to be good. And
Make it work.
if you're with somebody who is manipulative, that person finds it very easy to manipulate all those things and use them against you. And that is abuse.
Are we listening, viewers? It's getting hot in here.
It's true.
Yeah. It's true. So, while you were separated or after the divorce,
Mhm.
how have you coped with loneliness?
Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, candid thoughts. Candid conversations.
Yes.
Okay, so let me start from the funny. I actually tell everybody I'm on the market though.
Yes, you told me that.
Uh-huh.
I'm actually selling. No,
I am on the market though.
she's ready to mingle.
I'm really very ready to mingle. Very ready to mingle. So let's start from that funny part. But the truth of the fact is that yes, you do get a little lonely.
Yeah.
But you want the truth. For me, honestly, I tell myself the truth. I try not to lie to myself. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm so lonely. I don't have a significant other. But I remember that I was living in a house where I was also very lonely with people around me.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Mm.
The gentleman I was living with could stay for 3 months and not say good morning to me.
And both of you are in the same house.
Eh,
Wake
now.
up on the
So
same
person
bed.
wey no say good morning to you, of course you no go chop food where you cook. Person wey no say good morning to you no chop food where you cook. Are we talking about conjugal relations? Let's try and put it in nice
So like you
English.
could go 3 months without
Yes.
it. Oh, wow.
I cannot tell you how many periods of like 6 weeks that he didn't say anything to me.
And you didn't say anything as well.
Are you greeting? You not greet you now. Oh,
Oh wow.
you call him. He makes it clear that you should not call him. You call him on phone. He doesn't take your calls. You greet him. He does not greet you.
And both of you are in the same house.
That is why I said no sane person plans a divorce. Some people are not sane.
Oh wow.
I've brought insanity into this thing because a lot of times when pastors are counseling people, they have been in a place where sanity prevails. So they don't understand that there are some people who are actually functional in society, holding down amazing jobs, looking tush, smelling tush, walking tush, and everything, who are just quite not all together. No offense intended. Yes. So if your own person is sane and cannot understand how it is possible to stay 2 days in the same house without you, without saying good morning to you, or without hugging you, or without, oh my babes, take it from me. And I'm not alone, because you know how like kind of attracts like. People that are abused seem to find each other to talk to once in a while. I'm not alone. There are some people, audience members here, and eating the food that they cook. And then when you ask, at the end of the day, is that a marriage? So when I remember that I went through all that, I tell myself the truth, man. I've seen loneliness. At least this one I know I'm alone. So the loneliness is justified, as opposed to when I was with people and I was lonely.
But were there talks you had to deal with? like the trauma, people talking side talks and all of that? How were you able to navigate all of that?
Um,
Or did it get to you in a way that made you lose confidence in yourself, made you want to rethink your decision?
no. For the decision of going back, I've told everybody, and I don't mind taking the banner and putting it on my head. If he's the last man on the face of the earth, I'll stay celibate. If he is the last man on the face of the earth, I'll stay unmarried.
Hmm.
That's my decision. I will never, by the grace of God, go back there again. Because, like I said, I was separated 2.5 years. I went back, and it was like, oh God, it got worse the second time I went back. So I don't even want to think of what a third time could possibly be. Maybe I'll be brought out in a box. I'll be brought out in a coffin. So I won't even think of that. Door is shut and closed, and I'm grateful to God that I am alive to see that door shut and closed. Um, for people talking, it really doesn't matter that much to me because, like I said, I'm not a kid. I'm not a baby. So I tell myself the truth. I if there's something I'm not telling myself, it's something I've not come to terms with. Once I come to terms with the truth, I tell myself that truth. The way I look at this thing is in the medical field, mostly diseases are named after people. Sometimes disease, not mostly, but a lot of times diseases are named after the first case that presented these
Yeah,
symptoms.
true.
So if anyone wants to talk about divorce and they say, yeah, he incammed his wife, and that would mean he divorced his wife, then there will be something special about it. But I'm not a special case. I'm not the first person to get divorced. I'm not going to be the last person to get divorced. Do I feel any shame about it? No, not really. Why? Because I did everything that lay
Hmm.
within my power to ensure that I didn't get to this point. I tried all that lay within my power. And please don't ask me if I prayed because take it from me. Um, when a person is going through that kind of thing, you don't do anything else. All you do is pray because it's it's a nightmarish situation. All you do is pray. Any prayer, any place they gather, they say one or two or three people are gathering to pray. You go there, hoping that your solution is there. So when you pray and 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 something is not and nothing is happening, and then every other thing else you prayed about seems God has answered them, you begin to ask yourself, is it that God is deaf? But God is not deaf. He tells you that He's not deaf. If He has answered all the other ones and there's this particular one He's not answering, how far there's something there. You need to ask yourself that question: what's going on here? So I don't feel any shame about being divorced. Do I like it? Well, it is what it is. Um, is this what I anticipated for myself? No.
Mm-hmm.
Would I love to be in a loving relationship? Yes. As far as I'm concerned, after all I went through in that marriage, I haven't enjoyed marriage.
Hmm.
I would like an opportunity to really have a good friendship, relationship, marriage with somebody. I would love to have that. If God is kind to me and does that, to Him be all the glory.
Hmm.
Is it? I really would love to have that. But shame about that one, I don't. I made a mistake. I'm not the first person to make a mistake. I tried my best I tried my best. I don't know how to even say it. For how
Hmm.
many years? I was there for 15 years. I prayed, I cried, I fasted, I mourned, I begged, I pleaded,
Hmm.
I did everything. I lay down to be stepped on as a doormat just so that everything would be okay. And it still wasn't okay. And it came to a point where I just had to get up and say, you know what? It's fine. I can't deal with it. I can't do this anymore. I need to be alive because the sum total of my life is not marriage.
True.
There's more to it. Marriage is amazing, but the unmarried will go to heaven, and the married will go to heaven.
Hmm.
Likewise, the unmarried will go to hell, and the married will go to hell. Marriage does not determine where you're going to spend the rest of your life or
Hmm.
eternity.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I had to make that decision for myself, personal decision, and like I said, I got God's backing from it. So I'm sorry if you
Okay.
feel bad about it, but it is what it is.
Okay. Okay, so I get there's a child.
Yes,
yeah, involved.
yes.
So how has co-parenting been?
Co-parenting. Mm. Hey, man. Well, if you are planning to get married now, look, oh, listen to me. Check his sanity level first, though.
Very important.
Check his family, oh. Find out, check his family, and find out the kind of person he is. In retrospect, you know the first thing that the Bible says about love when it's describing love in 1 Corinthians 13? What's the first thing? Patient. Next thing is what? Love is kind.
Kind. Patience, kind.
For me now, before I used to do, oh, he has to be taller than me, he has to look nice, he has to. I wanted those. Apart from, those ones were nice. It's nice to have those, but now the most important thing to me is kind.
Mm.
If somebody is not kind, what are you doing with the person?
Wow.
Co-parenting has been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare. It's been a nightmare. The good thing about it is that my son is grown up enough that he can contact me and talk with me on his own now. But the gentleman in question and I, we have not had any communication since 2016.
Wow.
And even before 2016, as far back as 2014, even while I was still in his house, he would take all the decisions concerning his son and felt I had no contribution whatsoever. Being in a bad marriage is a bad thing. It impacts everybody. I thank God skills that child has had to navigate in order to survive being the child of two parents who could not get a marriage together are enough to make someone go crazy. Children who do not have the stronger strength of mind and upon whom God's hand was not. Other children that had gone through those kind of things, some of them have committed suicide. We don't co-parent. My son is my son, his son is his son. Wherever we don't co-parent.
So what do you do?
How? We don't co-parent now. How are you not understanding the English? We don't co-parent.
Okay.
My son is my son, his son is his son. My son does not discuss me with him, doesn't discuss him with me. That's how we are. I talk to my son, love my son, be there for my son, do what I can do for my son.
So there's no mention of
there's
daddy.
we don't have any conversation. And it's not because I haven't tried. On my own part, I've tried to reach out to him a couple of times on issues concerning our son and said, just so that we can even have a discussion and hey, can we talk about this? How do we decide this? Or how do we? I can even show you one or two text messages on my phone I have sent to him. He will read them and he will never respond. And he will never, so he does not talk to me. And as far as he's concerned, he has a son. Whether that child dropped from heaven, I don't know, on his own, or whether he came in an egg and the egg broke and the child came out, I don't know. But he has caught me, in his own mind, he has caught me firmly out of my son's life as concerns him. So he relates to my son alone, and I relate to my son alone. That's the way it is.
Wow.
And if you know how hard and how God is awesome, in the course of that marriage, even in the middle of the abuse, the harassment, the pain, the humiliation, the everything, I kept begging God for another child. There was actually a time I got pregnant and I lost it, and that was one of the things I was like, God, you didn't answer my prayers, you haven't answered my prayer. In retrospect, I'm grateful to God that he didn't answer that prayer. Because just having this one child between us, oh my
Yes.
goodness. If you had had another child between us, oh my God, I don't know how we would have done it. But I'm grateful to my God who saw me and delivered me from that drama.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I know why we didn't have another child together.
That must have been a lot. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around it.
You can't.
Okay.
I'm not trying. I'm not. See, listen.
Okay.
You have to understand the first foundation is sanity.
Mm.
If you're sane, it's difficult to understand insanity.
Yeah.
If you're sane, it's difficult to understand insanity.
I get you. I get you.
If you're used to a family where some men, people, husband and wife sit down, decide what should happen with the children and everything. When you see a house where the husband is there taking the decision on his own, wife is chasing after him, please let's take this decision together. He's like, you can see that this is not the way it's meant to be.
Sure.
And you're asking yourself, how does this work? Can't you see that this, but the person that is doing that doesn't even see what you're seeing.
Mm.
So that's how you should see it. Don't wrap your mind around it. It might just hurt your little mind. Just don't bother about it.
Okay. So, oh wow, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, let me just read some more. Let me just read some more comments here. Esinet Kolade says, "Face your reality." True, and she also says, "God know how God talks to you." That's deep. Telebrinkle says, "Oh, more, this is really deep." Oh yes, it is. Mary Ubenyo, I see you. Hi. We owe ourselves the truth. Yes, abusers cut you off from people you can get sincere support or help from. And Esinet Kolade says, abusers always objectify the victim. Reverse psychology is a key instrument in perpetuating abuse. They derive joy in cutting your wings and blaming you and painting you to be the one at fault. Okay. Gladys says, strong woman. That's you. You're really a strong woman. And she says, mercy. You know. Mary Benyo says, no sane person plans a divorce. Esinet says, silent treatment is also a form of emotional abuse.
Eh? Ask me now. I will tell you. I don't know. I don't know that I'm a strong woman. I don't know that I'm a strong woman. I'm alive by the grace of God.
Mm.
I know that as Christians, I'm a Christian, obviously, because I talked about being a Christian. But as Christians, we say that, and some people just mouth it so that it sounds as if we're speaking the same language. But for so many years, I lived physically feeling, not mentally thinking or imagining, or I lived feeling as if I was being swallowed up by water. See Isaiah 43. Hey, you pass through the waters, and that's what you try. It's my scripture. And my scripture goes, hey. So many years I felt as if I was being drowned. I was just on the verge of drowning physically. I don't know how to explain it. You barely have enough energy to take a deep breath. You barely have enough energy to do any, to even, you can't even put your thoughts together enough to even apply for a job properly. You can't even, you're crying, you're a broken down emotional mess because you're going through so much harassment and stress and abuse. And so I don't think I'm strong. What I just know is that I'm just somebody that God has shown mercy, because God just decided that I wouldn't die in the situation. And he just brought me out and just, just come and be going. And somehow, for the steps I have taken, he hasn't allowed me to fall into the gutter. Or he hasn't, I'm just bumbling along the way, and somehow God is just, as I get to a rock that is about to trip me up or something, he just shifts it to one side and says, just continue, just be going
Wow.
small, small. So I'm not strong. I can't wake up and tell you I'm strong. No,
Mm.
it's just God having mercy on me because I have she's a sister, she's not a friend, and she was aware of most of what I was going through. 6 months after I left, I said to her, man, that I think it was around the time I took that deep breath. I said, man, that this thing took more of a toll on me than I imagined. And she said to me, you know that, she said, if you had stayed there 6 more months, you'd have been dead. And I didn't doubt it.
Wow.
People say, how do you do that? You weren't being beaten. Yes, I wasn't physically being beaten. But the emotional trauma and abuse, the words, the things I was told, the things that were done to me. Let me just give you one that might just to blow your mind. How do you live in a house with a man? You're married to him. You have a child with him. He wakes up, plans a vacation with his son outside the country, and tells you 2 days before he's traveling that he's leaving or that they are going to London. That if you like, you can come and join them.
Oh wow. If you like, you can
If
come
you
and
like,
see.
that if you like, you should join them if you want. And then you're like, no, I have a job. You didn't give me enough notice. I'm sorry, I won't be able to join you. He's like, well, whatever. And he takes his son and he travels. And he comes back and he doesn't bring you an office pin. Hmm? Then over the course of months, every Sunday in the morning when you're driving out to church, because you didn't go to the same church obviously, when you're going to church and out of the magnanimity in your heart, you decide to give your house help a ride out from the estate because you live inside Lokogoma, you're driving out and you want to give your house help a ride. And you say, your shoe and your bag are really nice. She's like, oh, thank you, it's uncle that bought them for me.
Okay. Okay. On that same trip.
Down to clothes, unmentionables, and other things. Was he having anything to do with her? I will not say he was. But
He just
as a
chose
wife,
not to.
how do you feel?
That's a terrible feeling.
That
I
is
can't
one of the
even imagine.
least of the things I went through.
I can't even imagine how
That's
I feel.
one of the least of the things I went through. This help, I brought her at a time she was stopped from doing anything to help me in the house.
So what was she doing?
I couldn't enter his room, but she had the key to his room.
Okay.
So when as you're praying, you're reading your Bible, you're trying hard to be a good wife, and these things are happening on a daily basis, you're losing your mind. You're asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Why is this? What's going on? What did I do? Is he doing something with her? Okay, maybe he's not doing something with her, but how did I go from being a wife to being reduced to this? It plays on. I remember, and okay, so possibly you don't even have a job where someone is telling you, you're good at this, you're good at this, you're good at, and the man you're living with, you're not good at anything, and then he's superimposing your help on top of you. How do you live? You go to bed at night and you can't sleep.
Wow.
Your mind is, you're losing your mind. So, like I said, people are able to know who he is, and I don't want to go much further, but this is one.
Wow. Please, ma,
One.
I would like you to just advise singles, as in let them know that these things are real. Like sometimes it just feels like they don't even know that these things are real. It's about the butterflies and
Okay.
all of that.
Butterflies will fade. Frankly, butterflies will fade. Now I don't even want butterfly again, people. I'm telling you.
What do
You know
you
which one I'm
want?
suffering from. I don't want butterfly again because stay on one side. Well, one of the things I like about my church is that my church, Hope Alive Christian Center, we have our services in Pape, opposite Chicken Republic. It's a beautiful place. Lead pastors, Pastor Sam and Pastor Jimoke Bode Lawal. They are conscious and determined about marriage counseling.
Yeah.
If you want to get married, it's not negotiable. If you say, okay, I'm not a church person, okay, well, you know what? Yes, you might not want to expose him to your girlfriends, but you know what? All your aunties, your older cousins, your that guy has to run that obstacle course. Because the truth of the fact is that as a young person, there's so many things you don't see. As a young person, there are so many things that haven't even come into the possibilities of your understanding. You don't even see the possibilities of those things happening. But older people are able to see a little bit better. Um, for me, when people ask me now, what's the most important thing for you now? It's kindness. The man might not have all the money in the world. This
True.
gentleman was a little bit comfortable, yes, but now whoever it is doesn't have to have all the money in the world. He should be able to pay his bills with me and pay some of mine. It's not a bad idea. I like to be a girl, so hello, it is what it is. I'm not going to be a burden, of course not, but it's nice for women like it when the man in their
Yes.
lives are able to do something.
Yes, we do. We do like
It's
it.
sweet.
Mm,
It's sweet.
sweet,
It makes
sweet.
love sweeter.
Their money is
Yeah.
sweeter than our own.
It is. So you know what? The man has got to be kind. Even his gate man should be able to say, "This my guy, na better person."
Yeah.
He might not be able to say he is kind, but everybody around him should be able to say he is kind. In one way
I
or the other, he
agree.
doesn't have to be a fool. He can be firm. He can be everything, but this should be somebody that evidences kindness in his life. You also want to look at the family. Like I said, being unequally yoked is not only Bible says be not unequally yoked with unbeliever.
Unbelievers.
We shall take it a little bit a step forward. There are some things that, please, brethren, look well. There's nothing wrong with trying to aspire to being better than where you're coming from. You understand? But the truth of fact is that if you're a girl, as much as lies within your power, if your parents are the kind that taught you that expose you to Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Pinocchio and everything, try as much as possible to marry someone that is in that tangent of life. I beg you in the name of the Lord. There are some. Try for similar backgrounds. There are some unnecessary quarrel that spoils marriage that comes when the background is not similar. If the background is not similar, let it be clear to you that this guy is determined to rise above his background.
Wow. Okay.
There are some people that you see, they are coming from a background, but they are determined to rise above their background. You see their interests. Yes, they went to a village secondary school, but they came out and now they're talking about iPhones and iPads and all the tech things. They're talking about Teslas and all of that. You can see that the guy is expanding his horizons. That's the kind of person you want to be with if you're from a certain background. He might not have come from that background ab initio, but he is working towards it. I know why I'm saying what I'm saying. If you marry someone whose background is a little less than yours and has no plans of rising above that background,
No problem.
drama. This is how you guys will quarrel over things that are so absolutely unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. Absolutely unnecessary. And you also have to marry someone that believes what you believe.
True.
The Bible says, how can two walk together except they agree? A lot of people think agree is, shall you take this man? I do. Shall you take this woman? I do. No. Agree for marriage is on a daily basis. Agreement means you wake up this morning, you don't feel like cooking, but your husband needs to eat that food to go out. Agreement means you wake up and you struggle and you cook.
Yeah.
You're not feeling it though, but you know what? I'm agreeing. He too, on his own part, there are things he does. You guys are consistently agreeing. That is the only way you can work together. From my experience, no matter how hard one person works at a marriage, if the other person is not working, that marriage can never succeed.
Can't. Can't.
If it succeeds, in quote, it is a, what do you call it? It is a putrid success. What I mean by a putrid success is the success is the scab that covers the putrefaction that is underneath it. So outside you come out and you celebrate your 25th year wedding anniversary, and inside you're wailing and weeping on a daily basis.
Mm.
And then this thing of believer, being Christian and being born again is a fad in Nigeria. God knows, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but all of us know how to speak the language. All of us know the songs. All of us know the scripture. A lot of us, this gentleman quotes scripture almost as much as the devil and sends a daily devotional out. And yet, would send a daily devotional out and not speak to the woman he's living with in the same house. Being a believer is not, I accept Jesus as my Lord and personal Savior. Only. That is the first step. Being a believer means on a daily basis you're renewing your mind.
Yeah. Sure.
And you're walking the walk that the Lord has called you to walk. You are doing the things such that every day you're letting the word wash you. And you're seeing yourself in the mirror of the word. What a lot of people do is that they marry believers. And then when they get into the marriage, one person stops being a believer. And what the Bible says is that if the unbelieving husband wants to stay, he stays. If the unbelieving husband decides to go, he should go. That above all, what God wants for us is peace. When a man decides that the Bible that said, do not let the sun go down on your anger, that he's going to disregard that part, and then for 3 months he's not talking to the woman he's living with in the same house, is he still a believer?
How do you even do that?
Is he really still a believer? Yes, he has accepted Jesus as his Lord and Savior. That is between him and the Lord. I shall not be the one to go there and say, Lord, are you sure he accepted you or whether he collected his life back? It's not my responsibility. Everybody working out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Let him work his own out. Let me work my own out. But for the purposes of that marriage, is he still a believer? Is he really still a believer? When you're living in a house where the person that you're living with is telling you on a daily basis how you're useless and you're worthless and you're not worth anything and your life has not amounted to anything, and is tearing you with his tongue, contrary to everything the Bible has said, and is destroying you with the words of his mouth, contrary to what the scripture is, he the accuser of the brethren or the believer? There's some, you're getting into marriage. Marriage is sweet though. The planning for the wedding is an amazing phenomenon. Oh, what color is my cake going to be? Oh, it's going to be mango, it's going to be peach, it's going to be maca. It's beautiful. Yeah. But you know what? It's the living after that is the problem.
Yeah.
It's the living after that. It's amazing to see people who are in love. The longer they've been together, the more beautiful it is to see. I was looking forward to being in a position to have a 25th wedding anniversary. If the Lord is kind to me and brings somebody now and gives me long life like he has promised us, we might still get there. But the truth of the fact is that I'd rather be set alone than be in a place where it was clear I was going to die.
Did you hear that? It's been look at the time.
I know. Yeah, I know.
We have overshot
our time. Yeah.
As always. We are sorry.
Sorry.
But sometimes you just don't know how to stop the conversation because it just keeps getting, more insightful, more intriguing, more informative, educative, and all of that. A lot has been said today. a lot, a whole lot. Thank you so much, ma, for coming. Thank you for being very vulnerable, for giving us your candid opinion
If
on
I can
this
save one
issue.
person from going through what I went through,
Yes,
then
and
my work
we're
here is
so,
done.
we're so grateful to you. Thank you for blessing us with your presence.
Thank
Not
God.
everybody will do this. Um, I just want to say thank you, ma.
Thank God. I'm grateful
And
to
thank
God
you
too.
so much, viewers, for being here with us till this time. I'm so grateful. We still have a lot of people online. Thank you very much. I'll just read up the remaining part of this, and then we call it a day. Yeah, I stopped at Esinet. Esinet says there is more to life than marriage. Very true, very true. And Mary says personal and critical decisions have to be made. Rita says sanity cannot be overemphasized.
Nope.
It cannot be
Nope.
at all. Mary says, haha, no more butterflies.
Please. Okay. Pack them all. Now my eyes are almost like washed in bleach.
Oh, wow.
That is air. If you see the list of the what I said, okay, I want to be involved with somebody. If you see the list, oh my goodness. One guy saw the list that said, okay, I should wait when I get to heaven that there will be someone that me. But honestly, it's not that long, but like I said, kindness
Is at the top of the list.
key.
Mm.
When a man is kind to you, no matter how physically unattractive he may appear, that kindness makes him a king in your eyes.
And this swings both ways for the
Yeah.
man and the woman.
Yeah. Some women
Okay.
are unkind.
Yeah, some women are unkind
Yes,
as well.
they are.
It's good to be kind.
It's
Kind.
important.
Be kind. Yeah. Okay. So we need a kind man for Auntie Kem here, please. Kind man. Please apply within. If you know you are kind. Okay. So Esina says a lot of people talk the talk but don't walk the walk. Yes,
True.
very true. We have people that are two-faced. We have people that pretend. Some people
pretense.
no.
The
The
pretense.
pretense is
The
it's on
pretense.
another level. Yeah, so beware, singles, beware. Right. Rita says this was very informative. God bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you,
Bless
you,
too.
and
Bless
thank
too.
you.
Bless
Bless
too.
you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for coming. We just
Thank God.
round up here. Okay, I'm supposed to be giving you a souvenir, but
Yeah.
there was a little logistics problem
Don't worry, you
here.
know where to find
But
me.
I'll
It's
get
fine.
it over to
It's
you.
fine.
We are so grateful. Thank you so
Thank
much
God, thank
for
God.
coming. And once again, I'd like to say thank you, viewers, for being here. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. Okay, please do. And this is the last episode for 2023. We're coming back in 2024 more energized, bringing you, amazing topics. Just keep being there for us. Okay, thank you so much. And I would like to say, for my sponsors, thank you very, very much for this
you.
beautiful place. Thank you, Bolu. Thank you everybody that has supported in one way or the other. Moji, thank you so much. You've been a sister indeed. I'm so grateful. Thank you very much. Till we come your way again
In
in
2024.
January 2024. Like I'm so excited.
I know.
We started this March this year,
Okay.
and it has grown.
Okay.
It has really grown, and I'm grateful to God for where He has brought us to, and I look forward to amazing episodes on the show. I know you guys are still with me, so I'll see you all in 2024, God willing. Thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye.